Amid all of the car reveals for the 2023 season, people have seemed to forget about one crucial thing, and that's Red Bull's budget cap penalty. Now that the regulations are set to bring the grid even closer, one can't help but wonder, is Red Bull going to be haunted by their own mistakes? Was it really worth breaching the budget cap in 2021 and risking winning a championship in 2023 due to the time deducted at the aerodynamic facilities? And most importantly, how can Mercedes benefit from this? Stay tuned to find out more. Red Bull won one of the most controversial, if not the most controversial, titles in F1 in the Drivers' Championship in 2021. And now it seems like it's going to turn around and bite them right around the corner. By spending an uncontrollable amount of money, they have gone $2 million over the allowed budget cap, which resulted in them paying a fine of $7 million and receiving a time deduction of 10% in the aerodynamic facilities, such as the wind tunnels and the CFDs. Why is this so important? Well, the financial aspect of the fine, although impactful and hurtful in the long term, is one that Red Bull can recover quickly from. However, the time that they will see deducted from these facilities is something that's definitely going to keep Red Bull on its toes in the 2023 season, now that the grid has been brought even closer with new regulation tweaks. From 2023 on, the car ride has been lifted for 10 millimeters in the diffuser throat and 15 millimeters in the side section, which results in the cars losing downforce, but also gaining a bit of drag throughout the process. The initial reports suggested that the cars are going to be slower by 0.5 to 1 second per lap, and in order for them to fix and improve in the matter, they need to spend as much time as they can in the aerodynamic facilities due to the tweaks. While the FIA said that the tweaks themselves haven't been really promising when it comes to eradicating porpoising fully from the grid, teams like Ferrari and Mercedes are going to have more time in the wind tunnel facilities to figure out their issues compared to Red Bull. The Austrian team has also seen additional deductions due to the fact that they won the Constructors' Championship after finishing P2 in 2021, which added 5% to the 10% that they already had from the penalty. Horner characterized the penalty as harsh and draconian, insisting that his team is the victim in this case and has been bullied by its opponents. I mean, what more can we say? You've been caught cheating, so there is literally no reason why you should try and turn this thing to someone else's advantage. One team that is definitely looking to bank on Red Bull's penalty is Mercedes, with the Silver Arrows having the most time to spend in the aerodynamic facilities compared to Red Bull and Ferrari. Now that they had a disastrous 2022 season, they are looking forward to winning yet another championship with Hamilton or Russell. And the fact that they'll have 20 and 15% more time to spend in the aerodynamic facilities compared to Red Bull and Ferrari, respectively, is definitely going to help them figure out the no-pod side-pod concept even further. The Silver Arrows haven't changed the philosophy or the DNA of the car. In fact, they have taken it even further, making it even narrower and more exposed than the W13. So, if Mercedes has more time to spend in the aerodynamic facilities than Red Bull, then they can definitely fix any kind of issue that appears on the W14 in terms of porpoising, bouncing, or non-stability, now that they have a full season behind them with problems like this in data-driven form. Wolff talked about Red Bull's penalty as he added, "I think Red Bull have done a very good job last year, and having a car out there that is half a second or more quicker than everybody else. I think that the lack of wind tunnel time is certainly not great for them, and it could be an advantage for us this season." There you have it. Wolff has finally expressed positivity for the upcoming season after playing the underdog for such a long time. While Mercedes will look forward to optimizing the wind tunnel time in order to catch up with Red Bull and Ferrari, there are tons of other aspects that the team will look to utilize if they want to catch up with one of the most dominant cars that has entered the grid, the RB18. That is why the W14 is one of the most promising cars on the grid, with changes in the cooling, the front wing design, and the nose being the most prominent ones. But the fact that Mercedes has been able to shed 2 kilograms with the paint itself goes to show that they are now one step ahead of their challengers, and with the extra time in the wind tunnel, they can only become more dangerous and more present on the podium. Keep in mind that they need to prove to the world that 2022 was just a one-off show, and they are not going to remain in this place where they hoped for their rivals' reliability issues in order to score podiums and be present in the top dog race. Wolff, on the other hand, believes that if Mercedes benefits from Red Bull's penalty, it will be in 2023 only, because with such a powerful machine as Red Bull on the grid in 2022, the impact of the penalty can be easily minimized. If you have an efficient machine, you can certainly compensate for that, or large parts of it. So, long term, it's good for us. But we've been in that situation, obviously without the penalty, in the years before when we won, and therefore we had less wind tunnel time than everybody else for the last few seasons. It's going to certainly bite them a bit, but if they are efficient as an organization, which they have demonstrated, it's not going to be big. And one thing that shows that Mercedes will desperately hope that the wind tunnel will have any answers to potential issues is the fact that they haven't changed the philosophy of the car, but have gone even deeper with it. For the 2023 season, the Silver Arrows have kept the same no-pod side pod design, narrowing the side pods even further, but also implementing a variety of changes in the suspension, cooling down the engine with a different profile of the inlets and a different engine cover. The team had more benefit from keeping this same concept and applying the extra wind tunnel time from Red Bull's penalty to themselves, rather than opting for the double floor side pod design, which has been such a great innovation for Red Bull. But while Mercedes is more than happy to have the no-pod side pod design as they enter the 2023 season, Wolff confirmed that a revamp of this design is coming in the first couple of weeks of the first season. This could mean that the team is ready to improve after the first couple of races, but only when they see what is essentially wrong with what they have right now. And do you know what will help them the most in this case? In comparison to Ferrari and Red Bull, they have significantly more time in wind tunnels and CFDs. With this in mind, one couldn't help but wonder, did Mercedes deliberately sabotage the P2 spot in the Constructors' Championship so that they will have more aerodynamic tools in their hands once the 2023 season starts? Speaking at the launch of the W14, the car that has such a burden on its shoulders, Wolff said, "Throughout last season, we have analyzed it back and forth, whether it was right or not. Obviously, you can see the side pods are very different to any other car. But we believe that this is not a performance-relative part. Obviously, there is no such thing as a holy cow here, and we are looking at everything. On the side pods, this is the first iteration, and when we're going through the first few races, that's going to change a little bit." With Mercedes implementing changes to the side pod design prior to hitting the track with what they originally introduced to the world, the fans have been left in question about whether the team has any idea what they are doing for the upcoming season. Sure, they do have a lot of potential and a lot of tools they can use in their own favor, but whether that will be enough to tackle down the raging beasts called the RB19 and the SF23, only time will tell. The motivation is definitely there. Hamilton wanting to continue the collaboration with Mercedes for 2 more years sure helps boost the team's morale, and we are very happy to see the Silver Arrows back in action. Whether the budget cap penalty for Red Bull will prove to be a pivotal factor in Mercedes' success, time will tell. But as of now, things are looking bright for the Brackley-based squad. What do you think about Mercedes benefiting from Red Bull's penalty? Let us know in the comments below.